it's time to collect the 3 most favored tributes offered by the community to be fed to the flames of creation. These 3 lore submissions will become major plot devices in the upcoming episode that could impact players negatively or positively. I will also select honorable mentions to feed the flame as well. All chosen lore submissions will become canonized and added to the lore of Gamma Haven. Hit the like button and lend your enthusiasm. Let's continue. The first flame required a form of a holiday, and you all chose The Thinning of the Veil, submitted by Expersprobi. A Dia de los Muertos inspired holiday during which the Plate Haven inhabits and the Plate spirits whom have passed on inhabit are closer in alignment than any other time. During this holiday, there is limited interaction between the living and the dead. Offerings at graves and altars are consumed by spirits who may or may not make their presence known. This holiday is widely celebrated in the Divergent District, but the Thinning of the Veil is a holiday that anyone from any culture can partake in. It is unknown when or how this phenomena was discovered, but it has been a Torsanos ritual since before their recorded history. It is so sacred to them as a holiday that even when the tribes of Torosal were divided and at a constant war, they would not fight on these 3 holy days. The Villainous Guy adds on to the lore submission and says, as a custom with the Thinning of the Veil, many kids dress up as ghouls and spirits for the hope to mingle among the dead for a day, but nothing usually amounts to it. Just a fun excuse to dress up. That doesn't mean incidents haven't happened in the past. Hey, this submission is definitely a crowd favorite. And the concept is familiar to most. I personally am looking forward to learning how to write a skull poem this Sunday. But yeah, in the Gamma Haven setting, the abyss is where all life force departs to after death. So provided the natural flow is uninterrupted, those passed on spirits are going to be in the abyssal realm. So I would imagine this could bring into question whether or not there are layers to the abyss. It probably can't all be a void filled with abyssal hounds, because that's all we've seen so far. But, we saw Serena in her own quarters, and it looked, like there was some structure to the quarters. It just wasn't an abyss or a void. So I could probably see there being different types of locales in the abyss. Maybe not similar to how we would have it in our reality. It's a totally different plane, so the laws are a bit different. All right, so there are some honorable mentions here. The one I would like to call out is the first groundbreaking by Red November. This holiday celebrates the construction of Haven. Though no one is quite sure how long the ugly city has stood, they celebrate its creation nonetheless. The celebration is centered around the oldest known building in Haven, the Brick. The Brick is an old relic site, possibly an old middle-class house. It is made up of, you guessed it, brick and mortar, which is far from the normal, which is far from normal amongst the concrete and metal buildings of Haven. Historians have spent years studying and then protecting it, and have done so despite gangs and anarchists continually trying to destroy it. Every year now, the people of Haven gather around the Brick to hold a massive celebration of the city's founding, complete with festival games, markets, and occasionally live streams of new groundbreaking for other buildings. It's considered good luck to break ground on a construction project on this day, and that those who do will be blessed with good fortune and a safe, quick and cheap building process. Though again, no one is sure how long the Brick has stood. They only know that it has and will continue to do so for generations to come. Nice. The other honorable mention was the Festival of Rebirth by Luke Sloan. Luke Sloan submitted this. The Festival of Rebirth is a holiday celebrated all across the tank in many forms. Peoples like the Rhaelogarians and Dorinthians have their own form of it, but the most common form is found in Haven City. The festival itself celebrates rebirth and second chances. However, there are also themes of death and light in the Festival of Rebirth. The holiday is often symbolized by bonfires or, more commonly, candles. In order to celebrate it, people often meet in groups and burn large bonfires. Other variants of the holiday slightly change up this tradition. The Rhaelogarian version, the Day of Light, instead has entire towns meet in order to sacrifice something they love to fuel a bonfire. It is believed, it is believed that the instigator, necrofiends or Uncown, were involved in this holiday's inception in some way. The themes of death and light tie into the coming of the light. Oh, wow. As well as the necrofiend's obsession with death. Perhaps the Festival of Rebirth was coded into G-types long ago to make the instigator's creations more accepting of necrofiend and Uncown beliefs, and that this holiday has been celebrated cycle after cycle. Oh my God. Man, that is deep. That was one of the other submissions that were quite liked. Man, that was deep. Lots of good ones here. So instead of a personal favorite, I'm excited to announce that every one of these submissions are going to become a canon holiday in the setting, and we'll continue to build on and flesh them out like their dates in the next season. The second flame required a form of a condition. The winner is Ionized Erosion by Holy Bowels or Balls. I don't know. Is it Holy Balls or Bowels? They both sound very funny. Ionized erosion, prolonged exposure to dangerous materials, gases, and abilities of G-types can cause holy bowels. No, can cause atoms to destabilize. Let me repeat that. Prolonged exposure to dangerous materials, gases, and abilities of G-types can cause atoms to destabilize. While this is much more common in simpler life forms or non-living structures, some residents of Haven and the tank at large have been seen to contract this condition that seems to erode their very being, releasing their body into the aether as a tree would release its leaves into autumn. Man. Y'all saw this and was like, yeah, let's bring that into the game. This is, man. Like, if this was Jumanji, I would be mad at y'all for bringing that into the game. Man, just when I thought the G-type condition couldn't get any worse. You know, when you think about all these issues that you gamma types have within yourselves, the gamma type condition, you begin to see how flawed the necrofiend scientists' experiments really were. I mean, this condition is devastating. It's devastating. Think about it. Prolonged exposure to dangerous materials, gases, and abilities of G-types. You just vanish. You just get Thanos snapped. That's dangerous. So I'll have to be really careful with that, with this particular one. But at one, y'all saw that. Everybody thumbed it up because everybody likes chaos. All right. All right. Let's take a look at some of the runner-ups here. Anomalic fertility by Braxbro. This genetic condition, existent only in migrants, occurs when the composition of migrant flesh is a fertile medium for anomalite growth. He's crazy about this anomalite. The condition causes larger than normal crystals to form, causing symptoms such as pain, skin that appears about like someone dumped a bag of glitter on them, arthritis, general tissue damage, oh my God, internal bleeding, and even organ failure in the worst of cases. That's terrible. That's terrible. Currently, the best treatment for anomalic fertility, oh man, what a name, is to simply wear anomalite, to wear anomalite bearing garments such as pendants, rings, bracelets, and the like. Since anomalite grows until the surrounding area is stable, adding more anomalite in the surrounding area will reduce the anomalite growth inside the migrant's flesh. The soft limit on anomalite present will already be partially full. It's also theorized that by surgically removing crystals shallowly in migrant flesh and cultivating them in the other media outside the body, one could grow some of the anomalite outside of the migrant's body, meaning that the migrant will not have to buy garments. That is disgusting. He's saying that if you pick it out of you, you can grow it on you, so you don't even have to wear the garments. You can just grow it yourself and wear your own crystals. So far, only a handful of migrants, sole representatives of their race, have ever been diagnosed with this condition. But growths can be slow and the condition hard to diagnose immediately. The condition is also expensive to mitigate due to the extreme value of anomalite in research, manufacturing, and weapons development right now. Damn. That is bad. You don't want that. That's gross, man. If you get that, you need to make another character, because that is disgusting. At least the way I'm thinking about it. It doesn't look cool, and it doesn't sound cool. It sounds bad. It sounds gross. It sounds deadly. So that's why everybody liked it. Oh man. You came up with like all of that? Is that like maybe like, oh man. No, really, man, that is gross, man. All right. Another one is another one that a lot of people liked. The dissociative amnesiac culture transposition discorder, submitted by 3 Card Tales. The DACTD, the DACTD, or more colloquially, the DACD. It is best described as an intense sense of longing and loss for something one cannot recollect. I get it. DACTD. Fueling a sense of alienation to one's surroundings. This is particularly common amongst migrants who often come to the tank. My ability to speak and read has been DACTD. Migrants who often come to the tank with no memory of their past lives. This often leads to a state of mild existential crisis, as the afflicted cannot remember crucial character-defining moments that others take for granted, particularly forgetting one's cultural heritage often hits particularly hard because the subject often feels that a crucial moral guidance is lacking. Man, people attempt to deal with this in different ways. Some attempt to find new moral and cultural ideas to adopt. Others begin dogged, but often futile attempts to find ways to remember their past once more. the dissociative amnesiac culture transposition disorder, DACTD, by 3 cartels. All right, so my one that I want to point out that I personally liked myself was Solace, submitted by Expersproby. This is a cool condition. Any character that decides to come into the game and have this condition, that would be awesome. This mental condition causes the afflicted to desire open spaces and distance from others. In part, solace is a fear of others, but in part, it is a longing for freedom. Those who suffer from solace take one or two paths. Either they become reclusive and attempt to shut themselves away or flee from their habitation, or they become violent and aggressively territorial, brutally attacking any living thing they see. Solace is common among victims of the solitude plague, as well as people who dwell in the most overcrowded areas of Haven City. That is a cool condition. Wanted to point that out. The third flame required a form of a special person. Okay, so important note here. The most liked submission was the Experimenter. And I want to acknowledge this because it was a really interesting submission. And I spent a moment debating on whether or not we could fit this into the canon, or if we should fit it into the canon. And I ultimately decided not to, only because it does conflict, hardcore conflict with the origin story of several major characters in the tank itself. So anybody who's familiar with season 1, season 2 could probably remembers the 3 necrofiend scientists who fled to the outskirts to work and create this tank. And it was only them 3 because they couldn't do it where they came from. And it was just them. So no, actually there was a 4th. There was even a 4th already who was kind of like missing in action. This is before a lot of this stuff happened. So that's why I didn't even really want to do this, because there's already a 4th one who I already have. It's literally, complicated. And then also the Experimenter had in addition to that, somebody added on the Observer, which was another necrofiend. But they were great submissions. But so we had to go with Tio and Tora, submitted by Morris Cash. Props to both of you. Morris Cash submitted Tio and Tora. A migrant with the gift of causing the most unlikely bad thing to happen to those around him, which he refers to this power as Murphy's Law, which, unlike in our world, got its name from the first person to be affected by its own powers, a guy named Murphy. He wears basic clothing, preferring to not wear jewelry except for a single ring, which can neutralize his powers when worn on him, or keep someone safe when worn by someone else. That's cool. When he first left Anvil, he was more of the happy-go-lucky characters when they were brought out of the shop, although he did end up injuring 10 guards through the failing of the transport's landing gear, causing it to crash on top of them. This sort of thing would follow for the following weeks until he left the camp and headed into Haven to make a living. Some say to be wary when you're holding an extremely heavy object. You don't know when he'll be around to make you lose your grip or slip on some spilled water. So we're gonna go out. We're gonna go with that one. I like that one, and I'm glad we were able to fall on that as well. This seems like this is probably the migrant who is responsible for the Anvil Station's demise to begin with, which is a cool thing to think about. So the honorable follow-up was Brevok. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Brevok. Son of Brezalek. Now, this was submitted by Expert Sproby. The heir apparent to the Hidden Underground. Brevok is a Khalidian shaman who does not share the aggressive disposition of his father. Oh, with the inverse power of his father. Oh, Brevok can sacrifice his health to empower others. Oh man. Because remember, Brezalek consumed others to get stronger. Brevok can sacrifice his health to empower others, enhancing their mutations. Oh man, magic and natural ability. The greater the sacrifice, the more power the effect. Oh man, is he a good guy? Brevok's view of the world is complex. While he regrets his father's actions, he is angered and saddened by his father's death. I imagine he's missing an arm or an eye or something. A sacrifice to empower someone. Maybe his father, maybe someone else. Oh man, what a great character. What a great character. That's a complex one right there. You can see him doing something good or bad. I like that. I'm glad that's making it in. Another one that a lot of people liked and is thus a honorable offering is Colleen Oren by Henri Seal. Henri Seal, sorry. And he kind of, or this person laid it out as like a character sheet. So let's go through it. It's a night skin character. Their appearance: Kalina wears a full body red racing suit for all of her public appearances. On the back of her suit is a large number of patches depicting all of her sponsorships. She has short cut black hair, and during her broadcasts, she wears a one-ear headset. Born and raised in the Evolution District, she often spent her time illegally grav racing throughout the streets and between alleyways. After the Gamma calamity, she quickly realized the new cult of personality that had formed around her, and she quickly got to work using her racing connections to create the tank's first gray racing league. HRL is well known throughout most urban centers of the tank for being one of the best forms of entertainment around. Oh, okay. Racing. HRL. Let's go. Ooh, that's cool. I like that. Yeah. Most urban centers of the tank for being one of the most well-liked forms of entertainment around. Awesome. Her first ability is an asset. It's called Redline 30,000. Kathleen's personal ride. The Redline is a highly modified grav bike using both black market and experimental parts to beef up its capacity for speed, durability, and acceleration to the extreme. The Redline also boasts a kick-ass supercharged afterburner system. Damn, afterburner system. Ability number 2. A mutation, cult of personality. Oh man. Kathleen's mutation makes anyone who sees her view her as a friend, mentor, and role model, allowing Kathleen to persuade them to do her bidding and follow her commands. It is not uncommon for those affected by her mutation to long for joining HRL themselves, often causing injury to themselves due to the lack of proper training. What? Is she doing that on purpose? Oh no, they just follow her. Okay. Man, she needs to take responsibility of that. She needs to hold herself accountable. Ability number 3, asset. Haven Racing League, the HRL. Let's get it. Colleen, is the owner, creator, and shining star of her own personal worldwide entertainment network focusing on grav racing. HRL is renowned across the tank for being the best network available on any broadcasting system. Recently, she has even started using teleslabs to boost her reach to even the farthest corners of the tank. Awesome. Using the teleslabs. Awesome. Hold up. Haven Racing League. Creator Shining Server own personal worldwide entertainment network focused on grav racing. Okay. HRL is renowned across the tank for being the best network available. Okay. Oh man, that's tight. All right, and then my personal favorite. You want to hear my personal favorite? Can I tell you what my personal favorite was? Tanya Blackthorne. Tanya Blackthorne. And there's a simple reason why it's my favorite, in addition to it being cool. Okay? But I'll tell you why I think it's my favorite after I read why it's cool. This was submitted by Witch Doctor. Witch Doctor writes, Tanya is a beautiful, slender redhead who travels with a circus troupe. Okay. Her signature performance is dancing with decorative metal fans that are just as deadly as they are beautiful. She is often called on for private dances, and she tries to warm up to crime bosses, CEOs, and people of importance so she can get close enough to leave a mark on them. Using her fighting skills, which include expert use of the metal fans and gymnastics techniques, she will intimidate and take down her target and spread that target's wealth amongst those that had been stolen from. If only Robin Hood had looked so good. She goes by the moniker Stiletto. You could say that she is a thorn in the side of her victims. That's the only reason I like her, because she can say shit like that. I don't know if she's that corny, but just the fact that she could, if she wanted to, she could say something like that. So that wraps up the tributes. Everybody's submission is always welcomed, and they all looked great. Remember that even if it wasn't an honorable mention or picked as number one, I often go back to the submissions and pull things out just to keep people on their toes. So just keep that in mind. Thank you for sharing your crazy imagination, and I encourage you to always throw something in there, because you never know, it could definitely get picked one day and end up in these cool stories. So with that said, those are the tributes. Those are going to find their way in Act 3. Act 3 should be crazy, because we're going to be tying a lot of things up in a knot and bringing the season to a close, so we can pick it up again very soon after. Keep an eye out for the opening of the phase for Act 3.